The year 220 CE saw the final collapse of central power in the Han Empire, which in turn led the way for Cao Pi to ascend to the imperial throne by proclaiming the heavenly mandate as the Emperor of Wei. This is said to mark the beginning of the famous Three Kingdoms period. In the late 3rd century, the Sima clan managed to usurp the throne from the Cao clan. They defeated the other two kingdoms and unified China under the banner of Jin, also known as Western Jin. However, the greater Western Jin Empire was short-lived, and it was soon ripped apart by its internal strife following the death of its first emperor. The devastating civil war, known as the War of the Eight Princes, resulted in the takeover of almost all of northern China by various barbarian groups. My favorite YouTube channel, Kings and Generals, made a fantastic video about the War of the Eight Princes. Don't forget to check it out and subscribe. What followed the disintegration of the Western Jin dynasty became one of the most complicated periods in all of Chinese history. This was the 16 Kingdoms era in North China. 136 years elapsed between the establishment of the first 16 Kingdoms regime in 304 and the next reunification of the North in 439 by the Northern Wei dynasty. Despite its extreme complexity, the overall pattern of this era can be boiled down to a geographic rivalry between a number of powerful regimes in the northwest and regimes opposing them in the northeast, or to two chronological subperiods before and after the nearly successful reunification of all of China by the former Qin Empire in 383. During the 16 Kingdoms period, there were as many as 22 significant states in northern China, rather than literally 16. However, 6 of them were not listed in research released by historian Cui Hong covering this period. Also, the English term kingdoms used to describe this period is inaccurate, because it is the translation of a Chinese word that generally means states or countries. And these regimes ranged from true empires to territories administered independently by so-called governors who maintained a pretense of loyalty to the still theoretically legitimate Jin dynasty. It was a time when a majority of the regimes in North China had identifiably non-Chinese rulers. These non-Chinese rulers are known as the Five Hu being a collective term of the numerous nomadic people living in northern China since the late Han dynasty. Hu can also be translated into English as barbarians. The Five Hu consisted of the Xiongnu, Xiangbei, Jie, Qiang, and Di. These fleeting states were ruled by highly unstable systems of governance, with their rulers administering military power and often executing policies of racial segregation. The 16 Kingdoms period was also a complex process of cultural mixing. Many of the people in the frontiers had long been exposed to aspects of Chinese culture. Most of their elite had Chinese language literacy. Meanwhile, non-Chinese influences on the Chinese culture could be just as substantial. In the long run, this mutual blending process eliminated most of the old ethnic distinctions and generated a new Chinese synthesis. Let's take a look at the life of Liu Yuan, the founder of Former Zhao and an important figure in the rise of the first 16 Kingdoms regime. Liu Yuan was a Xiongnu noble, and his family had taken the Han Dynasty imperial surname Liu decades before Liu Yuan's birth. Many of his family members had been serving the Wei and Jin courts. Despite his Xiongnu ancestry, Liu Yuan studied under a renowned Confucian scholar and spent years living in the Chinese capital. He was also said to be adept in using both the pen and the sword. He had outstanding physical strength and was particularly good at archery. Although he was under the Confucian influence throughout his life and continued to serve as a commandant to the Jin court after his father's death, Liu Yuan had secretly planned a restoration of the vanishing Xiongnu Imperium and took over the supreme Xiongnu title, the Great Shan Yu. As opposed to public impression, the establishment of non-Chinese rules was less a result of foreign invasion, but more so caused by the internal Chinese governmental collapse and domestic rebellion. The most significant non-Chinese conquerors all began their rise in the early 4th century as allies of opposing Chinese forces in the Chinese civil wars. Liu Yuan is one of the best examples of this. He was made commandant of the garrison cavalry by Sima Ying, one of the 8 Jin princes, and was supposed to be Sima Ying's ally against other princes. In 304, when rival Western Jin forces attacked Sima Ying, Liu Yuan persuaded Sima Ying to let him mobilize the support of 5 Xiongnu divisions in southern Shaanxi. Instead of aiding Sima Ying, however, Liu Yuan rebelled, establishing his capital in central Shaanxi. Claiming that the mandate of heaven was based on merit alone and appealing to his own imperial family surname, Liu Yuan proclaimed himself the founding king of a new state, which he pointedly named Han. In 308, Yuan moved his capital to Pingyang in southern Shaanxi and promoted himself to emperor. Numerous warlords in the area pledged loyalty to the new government. Wang Mi and Cao Ni in Shandong, an ethnic Jia named Shile in Hebei, and a number of Xiangbei and Di tribal chiefs in the northern and northwestern frontiers. 2 years later, in 310, he appointed his 4th son, Liu Cong, as Great Shan Yu to administer the non-Chinese population of his realm, while simultaneously also establishing a separate parallel organization to administer his Chinese subjects as a Chinese-style emperor. Liu Yuan was too old to see the final collapse of the Western Jin Empire. Since he was already in his 50s when he rebelled, he died in 310. Liu Cong quickly killed his eldest brother and installed himself as his father's successor. In early 311, the main Western Jin army was annihilated in Henan by Liu Cong's rebel Han regime under the command of Shile. During that summer, and under the command of Wang Mi and Cong's cousin Liu Yao, the Western Jin capital at Liuyang was captured and sacked. When entering the city, Liu Yao's army committed a massacre and killed the Jin crown prince, a host of ministers, and over 30,000 civilians. The Western Jin emperor, Hua Yi, was captured during the sack. These events have been referred to as the disaster of Yongjia in Chinese history, named after the era name of Emperor Hua Yi. On New Year's Day in 313, Liu Cong forced the captive emperor to pour wine at his feast, which was an ultimate humiliation to a son of heaven. Not long after, in early 313, Liu Cong had Emperor Hua Yi poisoned. In 316, the ultimate Western Jin capital of Chang'an was also captured, and the last Western Jin emperor was put to death in 318. Although Liu Cong was the nominal ruler of China at this point, and his so-called Han state had captured both of the Western Jin capitals, the territory he actually controlled remained limited to central Shaanxi, and warlordism grew rapidly. Liu Yao controlled the Guangzhou region. With Chang'an as his capital, he maintained a mere pretense of loyalty to Cong. In 311, Shile killed General Wang Mi at a feast and annexed his army. Wang Mi's commandant, Cao Ni, on the other hand, captured more than 40 villages and walled cities in the east of the Taihang Mountain, grew his army to more than 100,000 men, and aimed to capture all of the Qi region. A subgroup of the Xiangbei people, the Tuoba clan, established themselves in the Dai region and the Yan region near modern Beijing. Even though Liu Cong possessed the education and skills required to become an influential ruler, he was also known for some of his unfavorable habits, such as alcoholism, his fascination with hunting, and his harem, and his habit of entrusting state affairs to his favorites. His reign was dominated by famines, epidemics, and banditry, as well as wars. During this period, it is well known that hundreds of thousands of refugees formed armies named Armies Begging for Survival in search of food. When Liu Cong died in 318, he was succeeded by his son Can, who is said to have indulged himself in similar damaging habits as his father. Can allowed a Xiongnu named Jin Jun to exercise active command within the state. Jin Jun staged a coup soon after and murdered Liu Can, massacring members of the Liu family and desecrating Liu Yuan's and Liu Cong's tombs. He proclaimed himself Heavenly King of Han and made overtures of allegiance toward the Eastern Jin dynasty in the south. Upon hearing this news, Cong's cousin Liu Yao proclaimed himself emperor, marched to the Han capital at Pingyang, and put Jing Jun and his family to death. He relocated the capital to Chang'an in 319, and changed the name of the state from Han to Zhao. This regime is historically known as the Former Zhao. In the meantime, Shile took advantage of the chaos created by the rebellion and achieved aggrandizement by annexing lands east of Pingyang and Luoyang. Liu Yao became suspicious that Shi was about to rebel and killed Shi's lead delegate. Shi became angry and later that year declared independence under the title of Prince of Zhao, also known as later Zhao. After becoming emperor, Liu Yao promoted education and schools, and enjoyed some military successes in the west against the Qiang and Di people. Liu Yao is said to have commanded an army of 285,000 men at the apex of his power. According to the Book of Jin, when Liu Yao's army lined up their camps along a river, in more than 100 li, the sound of bells and drums boiled the river and shook the ground. However large its size may have been, his indisciplined army operated on low morale and was no match for Shile's later Zhao army under the command of his nephew Shi Hu. In 328, during a climactic battle with Shile's rival army outside Luoyang, Liu Yao was allegedly too drunk to command effectively, and was defeated, captured, and killed. By 329, the last remnants of former Zhao had been eliminated, and replaced by later Zhao. From Liu Yuan's self-proclamation of King of Han in 304 to the extinction of Liu's family in 329, 26 years of former Zhao rule came to an end. The former Zhao's collapse was the event that facilitated the rise of Shile's power, and his kingdom, the later Zhao. In the next episode, we'll be talking about his transformation from a slave to the ruler of a vast kingdom, his and his nephew Shi Hu's reign of terror, and the brutal downfall of their kingdom, clan, and people. Thank you for tuning into the Middle Kingdom channel. We always have more stories to tell, so please make sure to subscribe to our channel and click that bell icon. See you next time!